Hello and welcome. You're watching India Today. I'm Gaurav Sawant. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in his Karm Bhumi, Kashi. The Prime Minister is seeking a third term. We'll get you all the details from the mega roadshow. Also, the Prime Minister's exclusive conversation with India Today, where he insists 400 par is not rhetoric. He's taken the war right into the Congress camp. All the details coming up.
Prime Minister in his Karma Bhumi. Day before big nomination, Mega Modi Roadshow in Varanasi. Mammoth Power March in Shiv Ki Nagari. Prime Minister's Kashi Connect. Big focus on News Track.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi had won Kashi both in 2014, that time with a victory margin of 3 lakh, and 2019 with a victory margin of about 4 lakhs plus. This time, the BJP has a much bigger target, not just 400 par as far as the NDA is concerned, but a specific target for the Prime Minister's victory margin in Kashi. We'll get you that story and lots more. But as always, let's get started with the headlines at 8. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his constituency Varanasi. Day before he files nomination, Prime Minister speaks exclusively to India Today, declares 400 par will be a reality, accuses the Gandhis of betraying India's constitution.
संविधान के साथ धोखा इस परिवार ने। संविधान बनने के बाद सबसे पहले संविधान बदला पंडित नेहरू ने।
Voting for 96 seats across 10 states and union territory in phase 4 concludes. Voter turnout nearly 70%. Till 5 p.m. Andhra votes for assembly elections too. JDS MLA HD Revanna gets bail in the sexual assault case. His son Prajwal, who has 2 rape cases against him, continues to holiday in Germany. Aam Aadmi Party MP and former Delhi Women's Panel chief allegedly assaulted by Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's personal assistant. Police say no written complaint has been filed, but Swati Maliwal did visit the Civil Lines police station. No official word from the Aam Aadmi Party. Massive dust storm sweeps Mumbai. Billboard at a petrol pump collapses in Ghatkopar. 50 to 60 residents feared trapped. Rescue operations underway. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls Kashi his Karm Bhumi and Ma Ganga, River Ganga, his mother. He says he's been adopted by Kashi. He will be filing his nomination from the holy city for the 3rd time tomorrow. Ahead of his big nomination day, there's a roadshow that's currently underway. The Prime Minister was showered with rose petals, love and affection from the people of Varanasi. He's now headed towards the Kashi Vishwanath temple. We get to highlights from the mega roadshow.
Prime Minister Modi back in his Karma Bhumi, Kashi. His roadshow kicked off at Lanka Gate, with the Prime Minister garlanding the statue of Madan Mohan Malviya. He then climbed onto a flower-laden campaign vehicle. Accompanying him was UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. A sea of saffron swept over the streets of Kashi. In the streets, on the rooftops, young and old, they were all there to see the Prime Minister.
बहुत अच्छा लगा। उनका जो गेज है, ग्लो है, मतलब वो तो देखते रह जाने वाला है।
बहुत मायने है मोदी की काशी के लिए, और मोदी जी है तो काशी है।
मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा। मैं बहुत ज्यादा ओवरवेल्म्ड हूँ। मैं बहुत वेट कर रही थी बहुत दिनों से उनसे मिलने का, तो मिल नहीं पाऊंगी।
देश के वर्तमान प्रधानमंत्री और भावी प्रधानमंत्री दोनों को देख के बहुत अच्छा लगा। योगी जी हमारे अगले प्रधानमंत्री होंगे।
Rose petals, डमरूस, शंखनाद and आरती.
आरती कर रहे हैं।
The mood in Varanasi was electric.
We are now seeing the chanting of Vedic mantras, Shankhnad, there are drum beats also being played, and everywhere we are just hearing the chants of Har Har Mahadev and Jai Shri Ram, and through this chanting only the people of Varanasi are now welcoming the Prime Minister, and you can see the kind of ambience here, the kind of environment here. Everywhere you will just find the kind of excitement is there among the people of Varanasi.
The 5-kilometer roadshow culminated with darshan at Kashi Vishwanath temple. Prime Minister back in Karma Bhumi before he files his Lok Sabha nomination for the third time on Tuesday. With Paulami Saha, Piyush Mishra and Abhishek Mishra in Varanasi. Bureau Report, India Today.
And a day ahead of his nomination, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke exclusively to India Today. He insisted the 400 Par war cry will be a reality on the 4th of June. He launched a multi-pronged offensive on the Congress party. I'll get you more on that, but just listen in to Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaking exclusively to Himanshu Mishra.
3 चरणों के चुनाव हो चुके हैं। चौथे चरण के लिए आज मतदान है। उत्तर प्रदेश और बिहार में जो आपको समर्थन मिल रहा है, इसको आप भविष्य में एनडीए के लिए कैसा देखते हैं?
मैं साफ देख रहा हूं कि देश की जनता के लिए 400 पार ये नारा नहीं है, 400 पार ये हकीकत है। पहले 3 चरण में साफ हो चुका है। आज चौथे चरण का मतदान चल रहा है और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि लोग गर्मी कितनी ही क्यों न हो, देश का भविष्य सुनिश्चित करने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध हैं और ऐसे सभी प्रतिबद्ध नागरिक अवश्य ही मतदान करेंगे, पक्का करेंगे और भारतीय जनता पार्टी और एनडीए की एक मजबूत सरकार फिर से बनाएंगे।
सर, कई विपक्षी दल ये कह रहे हैं कि 400 सीटें एनडीए को नहीं आएंगी, भारतीय जनता पार्टी को जो है 370 सीटें नहीं आएंगी। राहुल गांधी ने एक चुनावी सभा में ये कह दिया कि इस बार प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जो हैं वो 24 में पीएम नहीं बनेंगे। इसको किस प्रकार देखते हैं?
2 चीजों को 2 हिस्से करते हैं। अब तक वो ये कह रहे थे कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी 400 पार नहीं कर पाएगी और मैं उनकी इस चर्चा का स्वागत करता हूं, क्योंकि उनको ये लग रहा है हो सकता है 399 हो, उनको लगता है हो सकता है 398 हो, इसलिए उनका भी बेंचमार्क 400 है, हमारा भी बेंचमार्क 400 है और हमको लगता है हम 400 पार करेंगे, वो कहते हैं 400 पार नहीं करेंगे, तो इतना ही फर्क है।
So we'll get you what Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, but specifically on 400 Par, because that's the big debate across the country. Is the BJP touching 370 on its own? Is the alliance getting 400 Par? The opposition says clearly not. There are many commentators who say that BJP will stop at 220, NDA will stop at 250, they're not getting 272. Let me bring in our experts to weigh in on this. Rashid Kidwai is a well-respected political analyst. Shantanu Gupta is an author and analyst. Sharad Pradhan is a senior journalist, joins us on this broadcast, as does Shazia Ilmi, national spokesperson of the BJP. And Sharad Pradhan, I want to begin by asking you, sir. You're looking at what's happening right now in Avinashi, Kashi, the people who are there for the Prime Minister's roadshow. The Prime Minister says, looking at these 4 phases so far, 400 Par is a reality. The opposition realizes it. It may not be 400, it may be 399, 398. It clearly is around that number. Your take on it, sir?
Well, the Prime Minister, when he's talking about himself or his party, and that too in his constituency, obviously, what else do you expect him to say? He has to exude confidence and express what he thinks. You know, even if it is beyond his own confidence, as you can see it, the 400 par doesn't mean 399, 398. So that confidence seems to have already faded away, which has been reflecting in his actions, in his utterances, because unless a person is jittery, he would not resort to things like Mangal Sutra and Hindustan, Pakistan. Why would he shy away from answering the real issues? So that reflects that all this is more of a photo op and more of his, this exuberance has to be conveyed.
If I may, before I bring in Shazia Ilmi and Shantanu and Rashid Kidwai, you're saying the Prime Minister is jittery and that is why he's talking about 398 and 399 and not 400 par.
No. But that is only what I'm saying. He's jittery because he's talking about things which do not exist. He's trying to convert this election into Hindustan, Pakistan, Hindu, Musalman. That shows that he's extremely jittery. And it has been reflected all along in the first three phases and more in the fourth phase. And now, by talking about this, you know that 400 par had been given up number of days back. Today, he has come back to that because he happens to be in his constituency, where he has to tell people that he is going to do the impossible. And what else? Excitement of the people in his constituency is very obvious. Yeah, I wish he had conducted this kind of a roadshow in Bombay or in Kolkata or in Wayanad.
Okay, fair enough.
What is the big deal in Varanasi?
Okay, of course, for the benefit of our viewers and Sharad Pradhan, this interview was in Patna. Himanshu Mishra, the Prime Minister, was in Patna before he visited Patna Sahib Gurdwara. That was when India Today's Himanshu Mishra had interviewed him. The roadshow is still on. But, okay, Shazia Ilmi has a smile on her face. Shazia wants to respond. Shazia, the Prime Minister is nervous, says Sharad Pradhan, and that nervousness reflects in the fact that there is this Hindustan, Pakistan, Mangal Sutra, Hindu, Musalman in the Prime Minister's conversations. That reflects his nervousness.
I mean, frankly speaking, it draws a yawn. And because one has heard this so many times around. But I want to say that for us, it is 400 par. And we are very sure about it and committed to it. But the sad thing is that Sharad Pradhan's, bosses, are they even talking about 40 par? So you might want to look at our 400 and look at our benchmark. I mean, look at us, where we are.
Sharad Pradhan, sorry, I think you're on mute, sir.
You are a paid spokesperson of the party. Don't talk about bosses. You must be having bosses. I don't have any boss. By the way, no, I know what you mean. We have seen you. You are thoroughly exposed. So talk about your bosses. You are a paid spokesman of the BJP. So you are bound to talk like this.
You are the most corrupt. You are the Labharti of balancing
both our guests. No personal attacks, please. No personal attacks. My request to both are, you're both very well-respected guests.
She is making it personal. Otherwise, I'll blast her. I can also say a lot of things about her that I know.
No, not at all, sir.
She'll regret.
Sir, my request to both our guests, you're both very well-respected guests.
This is no behavior of a party spokesman. This reflects the frustration of the party. This reflects her
I'm just questioning the fact. I just want to come in and
the fact. Mind your language.
You be quiet, sir.
Mind your language.
You be quiet, sir. I don't listen. No. You take your orders from Akhilesh Yadav. I don't. All right.
I'm speaking.
Okay. My request to both our guests.
Shazia, you are a slave.
No. Hold on. May I kindly request both our respected guests. My request to both our guests, Shazia Ilmi and Sharad Pradhan, we respect you both.
My question is, why isn't Sharad Pradhan talking about Congress, whether it is going to cross 40 or not? Look at our benchmark. Look at where we stand. Look at what we are committing. Look at our complete vision. Why is he able to say that will Congress be able to cross 40?
She has nothing so concrete to say. So that's why
I have a lot to say. I
have nothing to say.
I listen to all that you did. Your hatred. Your pure hatred. You know that I know you very well. And everybody in UP does. So don't get me wrong.
Hold on. Okay.
So my thing is, you see, and what I want to remark on, Gaurav, you just see the expression on women's faces. The kind of love, pure love and affection. I mean, this is mass adulation. And you just hear people say, it's amazing, you know. So I think the whole of Varanasi is Modi mein, and so is all of UP. And it is great. I was there actually the last time around. And as always, it is beautiful. And it has less to do with logic, but more to do with pure affection.
Okay.
And I've seen that connect. And it is quite, it's quite lovely to watch these visuals.
Fair enough. And my request to both our guests, you're both very well respected, and that's why you're on India Today. My humble request is no personal attacks on either. Let's just stay on the issue. And Shantanu Gupta, as I bring you into this conversation, sir, 400 par, the opposition says, is pure rhetoric. There is no way that the NDA alliance is getting anywhere close to it. You heard the Prime Minister in that exclusive conversation with Aaj Tak. You're looking at visuals on ground where the roadshow is underway in Kashi. Your take on it, sir?
I think before commenting on 400 par, Gaurav, I think the way Prime Minister conducts himself, right? It's a I think case study for any political student and any budding politician, right? In spite of being such a busy politician, in spite of being a Prime Minister of the country, around the world, around the India, he has come to Banaras multiple times, be it Kashi corridor or a power station, be it a big hall or be it a highway to airport. And Banaras is a different town. Anyone who's visiting, I visit Banaras almost twice or thrice a year. Anyone who is visiting Banaras from the last 10 years, they can see, like, this is typically got a star constituency versus a Raebareli or a Amethi, right? They are like God's forsaken places. Now, after Yogi Adityanath come, they have a DM's collectorate office in Amethi, right? So, having said that, see, the 400 par, when he said in Parliament, it was a surprise for many of us. And why he's saying such a definitive number inside a Parliament, right? And see, Prime Minister knows that it's a lot on stake when you say something in Parliament. It's on records. So I'm saying they have intel, and also the multiple opinion polls that we have seen in multiple channels, right? They are all indicating towards that. Nobody is saying 250, nobody is saying 220. The numbers can be different. It can be 370 or 380 or 400, right? And the way the election is going, we're seeing the BJP is maintaining their previous tally, and they're getting very good gains from UP, very good gains from Odisha, from West Bengal, from Telangana. Today I'm hearing, I was in Telangana for multiple 6 seats almost, I did events. So they're getting multiple very good gains, and with, I think they're anyway 359 with NDA.
Give
today,
me a moment. I quickly want to take our viewers to the Kashi Vishwanath temple.
Aristane mihi swastino brihagapatirdanatu swastistuya vinasakya punya kalyana mrityada vinayaka priya nityam tam chadasti bruvantuna yo santirantarikshatum santihi prithvi santirapah santirukadaya santihi vanaspataya santirvishve devah santi brahma santi sarvago santi santireva Santi Sama Santi Redhi Yato Yataha Samihase Tato No Abhayan Guru Sanna Guru Prajabhyo Bhayannaha Pasuyaha Sukhasantir Bhavatu Sriman Mahaganadhipataye Namaha Sankalpaha Om Vishnu Vishnu Srimad Bhagavato Mahapurusasya Vishnuratneya Pravartamanasya Adya Sri Brahmadonni Ditiya Parardhve Vishnupade Sri Svetavaraha Kalpe Vaivasvatamanamantare Ashtavideshantaragata Vimukta Varanasi Kshetre Anandavane Mahasmashane Gaure Mukhiratyaha Paschime Digbhage Sri Kasi Vishveshwara Samba Sadasiva Sannidhau Tatrado Nirvignata Siddhardam Ganeshambikayoho Dhanam Smaranam Chakarishe Om Mahagananantva Ganapatiko Havamahe Priyanantva Priyapatiko Havamahe Nidhinantva Nidhipatiko Havamahe Om Namaste Rudramanya Bahuto Kaikave Namaha Bahubhyamudate Namaha Jate Rudradivadano Ragona Papakasini Tayana Sanuma Santamaya Giri Santa Vijakasi Jami Kongiri Santa Hase Vivagataruna Utavavro Sumangala Jai Jaina Korudra Avito Shita Sahakato Vaika Kuheda Ivahe Asaujo Vasavati Nila Chachate Kude Yasalyana Mukha Sivona Sumana Bhava Namasta Ayudhaya Tataya Drinave Ubabhya Mudate Namo Bahubhyano Hadve Kuririka Mano Biran Putra Bhavilo Badhire Havitmanta Sadavitva Have Sayo Pavetine Pustanam
The magnificent Kashi Vishwanath temple a Kashi corridor has been created, and just a short while back, Shantanu Gupta was mentioning that the Prime Minister has been here multiple times in the past 10 years, over 44 visits. Shantanu Gupta, you want to quickly complete your point before I come to the Prime Minister's big attack on the opposition and specifically the Congress Party on the Constitution of India. Shantanu Gupta, complete your point, sir.
Yeah, so just 2 quick points. And the Kashi doesn't elect Narendra Modi because he's of a particular caste or a particular region, he speaks a particular language. And that's the way to dissect identity politics, right? And why will Baba Vishwanath not bless this devout son, right? After Ahilyabai Holkar, after 250 years of Ahilyabai Holkar, someone has touched even Kashi Vishwanath. So I think it's a clear victory for Kashi for sure. We're just waiting for the margin.
Fair enough. So it's all about the margin. Sharad Pradhan, is that also your understanding? Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Temple, the Prime Minister said built after 500 years. Now the Kashi corridor, it's been done up after 250 years after Ahilyabai Holkar. Does that impact the BJP's fortunes in your appreciation, sir?
Well, it has already been, it has already paid back the BJP once and twice. And now I don't see that happening because the kind of the footfall in Ayodhya has already come down drastically. No. 3 airlines have cancelled their flights. All the hype that was created artificially is going. So Kashi will remain Kashi, yes. But Ayodhya will never become Kashi, which Mr. Modi hoped. And that's why he takes all credit for that. He doesn't attribute any credit to the Supreme Court of India. Unfortunately, most of the channels also don't attribute any credit to the Supreme Court of India, which got the clearance, gave the clearance for building the temple. So that is, but using the religion to further his politics is only a weak man's. It's only a weak man's domain, and which is what Mr. Modi is doing.
Okay, so you are saying Kashi remains Kashi. Your appreciation is Ayodhya will never become Kashi. For a moment, I again want to cut across to Kashi for these live images. Prime Minister Narendra Modi flanked by the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. And what an image of that magnificent Kashi Vishwanath temple. Shazia Ilmi, you want to quickly respond to Sharad Pradhan's analysis that Ayodhya will never be like Kashi?
No, I would like to respond to what he has to say. I don't agree with it at all. And I think it's a proud moment. And for somebody like Sharad Pradhan, who actually does not believe in respecting the sensibilities of this country and the believers, I don't have much to say, because obviously we're on 2 different sides here, and I'm very proud to disagree with him. But look at this, after Pran Pratishtha happened, the entire opposition refused to show up, and then they accused the Prime Minister of reaping benefits. These are the same people who've used Muslims as vote banks for the longest period, being so communal in their nature, and have kept Muslims in such a state. And that has been the mainstay of their politics, the identity politics. And they blame Modi ji, who actually has very proudly respected and waited for rule of law, waited for Supreme Court judgment to have the Pran Pratishtha and have this magnificent Ram temple.
Fair enough. Look at Shantanu Gupta, you want to quickly respond to that specific allegation or the point being made by Sharad Pradhan that as far as Ayodhya is concerned, it was an artificial hype that was created, and now the footfall at Ayodhya has fallen, sir.
I think I was in Ayodhya last week, and there are lakhs and lakhs of people, not in the temple, in the streets. I think I'm sure it's hardly two hours away from Lucknow, where I understand Sharadji lives. We should drive down to Ayodhya and see how the temple is super busy. And the people the temple town economies of Ayodhya, of Kashi are flourishing, right? Do you know that last year Kashi got 8 times of the tourists of Goa? In 2022-23 alone, Kashi got almost 13 crores of tourists. So it's from 4 lakh houses to 10 crore gas connections to 11 crore Jandhan to the Kashi temple to the Ayodhya temple. All is building the case for Narendra Modi.
Fair enough.
Gaurav, I'd like to come in here. Just
okay, but that's a figure that's been given by the Uttar Pradesh government officially of the tourist footfall to Avinashi Kashi. 13 crore in a single year, sir. In 2 years.
I'm not disputing Kashi. I was talking about Ayodhya. What I want to point out is that just as Shazia thinks that Mr. Modi is the greatest Ram Bhakt, I wish he was. To use religion for politics is a different ball game. But if he had been a true Ram Bhakt, he would have followed the ideals of Ram and not kept his eyes shut to the gang rape of women in Manipur, to the molestation of our women wrestlers, to the rapists of Bilkis Banu, and the great fellow whom they've taken ticket in Karnataka.
Shazia, I want to quickly respond to that before I bring in Rashid Kidwai, who joins us on the show.
Has not lived up to the ideals of Lord Ram. Whatever he does is only for votes. He doesn't believe in Ram. He doesn't have. If he was a true believer of Ram, he would have followed the ideals of Ram.
And people would not that's why it's a democracy, right? So you have most free and you have all the rights. So if that is your opinion, that is what it is.
It's not opinion. It's a matter of fact.
No, it's not a matter of fact.
You made your point. Let her respond now, sir.
Cannot see that. And coming from a woman is
Sharad Pradhan, you've made your point, sir. Now let her respond. Otherwise, then you'll accuse her of heckling you when you speak. One by one, you've made your point. Shazia, respond.
I don't accuse.
So just imagine they talk about these 4 incidents, and instead of talking about all that has happened for women, we were just watching how women were responding to the Prime Minister and where that has come from. The deep respect the Prime Minister has, and what women feel is so reciprocal. So he's totally disconnected with reality, which is why he's saying what he is. And
let me now take this to what Prime Minister Narendra Modi told India today. Okay.
Because there is nothing. This explains it, in fact.
Okay,
so
the Prime Minister was very clear. Okay, I want to move on now, ladies and gentlemen. Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaking exclusively to India Today's Himanshu Mishra very categorically hit out at the Congress party on that criticism that the BJP wants 400 par to change the constitution. Listen to what Prime Minister Narendra Modi said.
ये कह रहे हैं विपक्ष की 400 सीटें आ जाएंगी तो आप संविधान बदल देंगे, और दूसरी तरफ लालू यादव कह रहे हैं कि मुसलमानों को जो है वो पूरा आरक्षण मिलना चाहिए। इसको किस तरीके से आप देखते हैं?
देखिए, पहली बात ये है कि उन्नीस से 24 हमारे पास 400 सीट थी, 360 के करीब हम जीत करके आए थे, और एनडीए प्लस कहे तो हमारे पास 400 हमेशा रही है। तो सीट आने से संविधान बदल जाते हैं, ये तर्क गलत है। संविधान के साथ धोखा इस परिवार ने किया है। संविधान बनने के बाद सबसे पहले संविधान बदला पंडित नेहरू ने। उन्होंने क्या किया? सबसे पहले उन्होंने, पंडित नेहरू ने संविधान संशोधन किया, और क्या किया? फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच को रिस्ट्रिक्ट किया। फिर इनकी बेटी आई इंदिरा जी ने क्या किया? आपातकाल लगा दिया। कोर्ट के जजमेंट को उन्होंने नकार दिया, उनका चुनाव रद्द हो चुका था। संविधान के साथ धोखा उन्होंने किया। फिर उनके बेटे आए राजीव गांधी जी, उन्होंने क्या किया? उन्होंने आकर के भारत के मीडिया को कंट्रोल करने के लिए एक बिल लाए। देश के मीडिया ने और देश के विपक्ष ने बहुत बड़ा होल्ला किया तो बच गए, लेकिन तब वो संविधान की भावना के खिलाफ करने गए। उनके बेटे शहजादे, उन्होंने क्या किया? संविधान की कोख से जन्मी हुई सरकार होती है, और सरकार की कैबिनेट वो संविधान के अधिष्ठान पर होती है। कैबिनेट ऐसी हवा में नहीं होती। वो कैबिनेट जो निर्णय करे वो संविधान से सुसंगत होता है। उस कैबिनेट के निर्णय किया डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जी के ने। इन्होंने प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस बुला करके उस कैबिनेट में जो निर्णय किया गया था उसके लीरे लीरे उड़ा दिए। मतलब वो एक कागज नहीं फाड़ रहे थे, भारत के संविधान के टुकड़े कर रहे थे। वो बाबा साहब आम्बेडकर की पीठ में छुरा भोंक रहे थे। वो भारत के संविधान निर्माताओं की भावनाओं को चूर चूर कर रहे थे। परिवार की सभी पीढ़ियों के सभी मुखियाओं ने संविधान के साथ ये बदतमीजी की है। उनको संविधान शब्द बोलना भी उनके मुंह में पाप लगता है। जहां तक भारतीय जनता पार्टी का सवाल है, हमारा कमिटमेंट है, हम SC, ST, OBC धर्म के आधार पर आरक्षण नहीं देंगे, नहीं होने देंगे। भारत के संविधान ने SC, ST, OBC को आरक्षण दिया हुआ है। संविधान की मूल भावना के खिलाफ हम होने नहीं देंगे। दूसरा, संविधान सभा की भावना थी कि वो किसी भी हालत में वे धर्म के आधार पर देश में आरक्षण स्वीकार नहीं करेंगे। बाबा साहब आम्बेडकर का मत था कि संविधान में धर्म के आधार पर आरक्षण नहीं हम रख सकते हैं। तो जो बाबा साहब आम्बेडकर ने कहा, जो संविधान सभा ने कहा, जिसके प्रति हमारी श्रद्धा है, हम उसको बरकरार रखने के लिए मेहनत कर रहे हैं। लेकिन जैसे वो पिक पॉकेटर होता है ना, वो किसी का जेब काटता है, फिर चिल्लाता है, अरे वो चोर चोर चोर, और कोई दूसरा भागता है और ये माल लेकर के फिर धीरे से निकल जाता है। तो ये लोग चिल्ला इसलिए रहे हैं कि उनके इरादा है कि धर्म के आधार पर आरक्षण करने का, और इसलिए वो चिल्ला रहे हैं जी, और हम ये होने नहीं देंगे। चलिए, बहुत अच्छा लगा मुझे, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद
सर। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर
भैया,
आपने आज तक के लिए इतना समय दिया दर्शकों के लिए, अपने व्यस्त समय में से। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर।
Rashid Kidwai, welcome on the show, sir. The Prime Minister has taken this war right into the Congress camp, into the Gandhi family camp, where he says attacking the BJP on the Constitution is just diversionary tactics from Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru to Rahul Gandhi. He's listed out details where it's the Gandhi family, according to him, that have targeted the Constitution, sir.
So, Gaurav, we must understand this is the election time. This is a political formulation. He's making a case. For instance, he says that Rajiv Gandhi brought a bill to curb, press freedom. That bill was never passed. So that's the long and short. Something that was never passed, was never implemented. How can it, Rajiv Gandhi be credited with that? The thing that he's talking about, ordinance, that was the ordinance, a controversial ordinance. I don't remember Mr. Rahul Gandhi tearing it. That what he told was something different in that press conference at the Press Club of India in presence of Ajay Makan. He did not tear that copy of the ordinance. But anyway, these things apart,
okay.
I think.
But changing bringing in the First Amendment, putting curbs on freedom of expression, even before the first election could take place in India, sir. So what Pandit Nehru did, or Indira Gandhi imposing emergency, sir.
Yeah, Gaurav, I think you've raised a very pertinent issue. I should have responded to that. First Amendment was, of course, Nehru government did it. It was about public order. And therefore, the kind of situation we had in the country, it was very much required, and it was upheld by court of law that the freedom of expression cannot be absolute. It is within the boundaries of public order, and that is there till today. All governments have abided by that. I am saying, if constitutional amendments by Nehru, Indira, Rajiv were so wrong, why the Prime Minister having a 400 plus that mandate that he's talking about between 2019 to 24, why he did not change it? If he didn't like the word socialist secular in the preamble, why it's not been changed?
Okay, Shazia Ilmi, quickly
I
respond.
want to come in. Gaurav, please give me 2 minutes. So first of all, where there is freedom of expression, 19.1, it was done by Nehru. Then 42nd Amendment, whereby the preamble itself was changed, and there was the word secular creeped in along with socialist. And not just that, of course, the emergency happened, but Rajiv Gandhi and the entire matter of the Shah Bano case. Just now we were talking about the temple. Prime Minister waited for the Supreme Court verdict, and then had then ensured that there would be this magnificent temple built there, which actually did justice to years and years of wanting and waiting by thousands of people. he could have brought in an ordinance. There was a talk of it, but he did not. This is his respect of constitution and law. And what Prime Minister is saying right now is demonstrating how often the entire Khandan, Gandhi Nehru Khandan, has played with the constitution, the soul of it and the spirit of it, not once but many times. And these are the various examples he gave. So he was responding to the rumor mongering and the canard that is being spread that if we get 400, which we will change the constitution. So he was giving you examples of who has been playing with the constitution and the spirit of constitution. Fair and enough. how they're also playing with Arakshan reservation, which is constitutionally disallowed on the basis of religion.
Sharad Pradhan, respond to the point. The BJP says when the Congress party played around post Shah Banu verdict with that was Muslim appeasement, the secularists kept quiet about it. You know, when reservation was given to Muslims in Andhra Pradesh or in Karnataka, it was called secularism. Everyone kept quiet about it. If the Prime Minister goes to a temple, it is seen as communal, and this is what the Prime Minister or the BJP says now stands exposed in front of the world, sir.
Well, that's a very, very one-sided view. Anybody, Prime Minister going to the temple is not considered communal at all. What he utters becomes communal. Let me correct you there. So that's a world of a difference. Secondly,
so when the Prime Minister says will not permit reservation on the basis of religion, is that communal?
Gaurav, when you let the
sir, I've asked you a very specific question, sir.
Let me complete
when the Prime Minister says no reservation on the basis of religion, is that communal?
As he is, it is not communal, because the Constitution does not permit it. Whoever is spreading a canard is the Prime Minister himself, because he is twisting facts. He is known to be, using a lot of lies and twisting facts only to put his point across and only to make the people believe the unbelievable. So this is what he's been doing. We have seen it a number of times. Mind you, you are overlooking an important fact that the Mandal Commission laid down a provision for reservation to Muslim backwards. Just take a look into the Mandal Commission's recommendations. You will find it there. And that time, nobody opposed it. That is the only provision. Otherwise, the Constitution does not permit, and very rightly so, does not permit any reservation on the basis of religion. Prime Minister is trying to twist facts
respond to the criticism that when Prime Minister says SC, ST, OBC का reservation लेकर छीन कर मुसलमानों को दे दिया जाएगा, pickpocketing हो जाएगी. That Sharad Pradhan says that is where it's misleading.
That is the way the Prime Minister is misleading people.
Because Gaurav, why Prime Minister is saying it? Because in Andhra Pradesh during YSR time, right now in current Telangana and Karnataka, Congress government has tried that, attempted that. The court, as Sharadji rightly said, is not allowed in the constitution, but they will try from some means here and there. And because the overall reservation is constant, you have to take it away from OBC, SC and ST. So that's very clear. That's what it's mentioning. And when you read Congress manifesto, it mentions minority 17 times. And we understand with Manmohan Singh's statement, for them, minority particularly, mark my word, particularly means Muslim. So I think Prime Minister is right. Only thing maybe Sharadji has to
interpret anything to suit your...
Read the manifesto and hear Prime Minister's speech properly.
Okay. Rashid Kidwai, you wanted to come in and weigh in on this point that SC, ST, OBC reservation will be taken away and given to Muslims is the Prime Minister's apprehension, and he says will not permit that.
First class lies.
Gaurav, it's a very strange, very paradoxical situation. On the one hand, Prime Minister, is accusing Congress of, taking away rights of, SC, ST, OBC. On the other hand, he is in alliance with a political party being TDP, which is openly in its manifesto has promised reservation for Muslims in Andhra Pradesh. Can you imagine a bigger, a kind of, paradox? That my friend Shazia was talking about Shah Banu judgment. See, the successive BJP government have not overturned the maintenance of, Protection of Muslim Women Act of 1986. Why? This is all crocodile tears. You say it on television that you are opposed to it. You are allowing a bill that was passed in 1986 till date is in existence.
We have a new law. We have a new law. I think we have a new law on triple talaq, on maintenance of marriage, which was mandated. No, it is not. It talks about maintenance. No, it talks about maintenance. And the entire, okay, then I want to ask you, we're talking about UCC. Rashid bhai, we're talking about UCC. Won't UCC take care of this? But that you want to oppose. See, you get caught. No, I'm saying something else. Listen to me. So, okay, when we talk about UCC, will it not take care of this? So what you're saying is what Congress did was wrong, but problem of BJP is, why didn't they change it? So you're agreeing that what Congress did was wrong. Good. Second thing. No, let me finish. Now I want to, let's have a tidy conversation. 1, 2, 3. So what you're saying is that, okay, what Rajiv Gandhi did was terrible. He succumbed to Mullah Dam. He succumbed to All India Muslim Personal Law Board for vote bank politics, and it was terrible. It threw women in a state of despair. They brought in another law which was not good enough, and BJP should have overturned that. But BJP brought in another law and prevented triple talaq to happen and ensured maintenance would be given. Okay. Now BJP is promoting UCC. That would take care of the problems you're talking about. Why is that?
The Prime Minister raised another very pertinent point in that exclusive conversation with India Today, where he said the Congress has a chip on its shoulder because of the 1962 debacle, and that is why the Congress is repeatedly targeting the armed forces. He also said that the Gandhi family is very worried in case Narendra Modi were to become Prime Minister once again in 2024. It will only be the second time after Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and that is why the Gandhi family is very worried. But there's another big fight that's happening in Uttar Pradesh, and that's in Raebareli, where Congress Party MP Rahul Gandhi is contesting from a second seat after Wayanad. Now, the seat has been held by the family for decades. It's been seen as a safe family seat, and that triggered a big political war, with Union Home Minister Amit Shah lashing out at calling it unki maa ki seat, where he said, did Sonia Gandhi bring this seat from Italy? We bring you more in this report.
From Firoz Gandhi, the grandfather of Rahul Gandhi, to his grandmother Indira Gandhi and his mother Sonia Gandhi, the 53-year-old political heir is on the campaign trail to defend the stronghold, a seat his party has held for 66 of the 72 years since India's first general election in 1952. Raebareli, a constituency largely associated with the Nehru-Gandhi family. As Raebareli gears up for the May 20th elections, Union Home Minister Amit Shah is aggressively vying to wrest the seat. For BJP candidate Dinesh Singh, a minister in the Uttar Pradesh government, this time around, the Home Minister is drawing attention to Sonia Gandhi's Italian heritage. She has represented the constituency in the Lok Sabha since 2004. But this year, she moved on to become an MP in the upper house from Rajasthan.
अमेठी नहीं, वो रायबरेली से लड़ रहे हैं और आपकी पार्टी कह रही है वहां से भाग गए। इस पर आपका क्या नजरिया है? उनकी मां की सीट थी।
देखिए, कोई भी सीट मां या बाप की नहीं होती है, देश की जनता तय करती है। कैसे मां की सीट थी? इटली से लेकर आए थे क्या? कोई सीट किसी की नहीं होती है, देश की जनता तय करती है कि यहां से कौन उनका जनप्रतिनिधि होगा।
Home to roughly 3 million residents, Raebareli in Uttar Pradesh comprises 5 assembly segments. Home Minister Amit Shah took a dig at Rahul Gandhi, who is contesting the elections from Wayanad in Kerala, his seat in the outgoing Lok Sabha, and also from Raebareli.
रायबरेली वालों ने सालों से गांधी नेहरू परिवार को जिताया है, सही बात है। लोकतंत्र के अंदर 5 साल तक यहां से चुन कर जाने के बाद सोनिया जी और इनका परिवार रायबरेली कितनी बार आया है भैया, बताओ तो जी।
In his campaign, Rahul Gandhi has emphasized his family's deep connection with Raebareli. The Congress leader refers to Raebareli as his ancestral Karam Bhumi.
मां वो होती है जो रास्ता दिखाती है और जो रक्षा करती है। आपने मुझे रास्ता दिखाया, आपने मेरी रक्षा की, मगर इंदिरा गांधी जी ने भी मुझे रास्ता दिखाया मेरी रक्षा की। मेरी दोनों माताओं की ये कर्मभूमि है, इसीलिए मैं यहाँ रायबरेली से चुनाव लड़ने आया हूँ।
A prestigious battleground with rich political symbolism. Bureau Report, India Today.
Rashid Kidwai, what do you make of this relentless attack? One, on the Gandhis. Two, with the Home Minister saying that even Raebareli is not safe and Rahul Gandhi will lose from there. And they fear, Prime Minister said that they fear in case he were to become the Prime Minister the third time, he'll be second only to Nehru, Indira Gandhi's legacy, Rajiv Gandhi's legacy. That's at stake, and that is why the Gandhi family is very worried.
There is nothing to worry about, Gaurav. This is a wheel of time. It happens. You know, it's like in cricket, you know, somebody scores a century, somebody scores a double century, triple century. So records are meant to be broken. If Mr. Modi does, you know, he breaks Prime Minister Nehru's record, it should be a statement of fact. But the fact that the way that emphasis has been given about, you know, it's not being someone's, you know, mother's or father's kind of thing, you know, in terms of constituency, it applies to all. Of course, what Mr. Amit Shah is saying is correct in principle, but in manner of speaking, we all say that so-and-so is representing, ye unka karam bhuri, unka karam bhumi hai. Second thing, Gaurav, we must understand, nursing a constituency, a parliamentary constituency, is not the sole purpose of getting elected. Job of a member of parliament is, you know, multifaceted. He's supposed to make laws, you know, contribute to national life. Of course, nurse a constituency, but nursing a constituency, from my understanding, is a rather, you know, later day innovation. It was not there when in the first, third, fourth, and fifth election.
Okay.
There's no political leader of that era was nursing constituency the way constituencies are being nursed today. I mean, this is just my observation and my impression. Now we are giving emphasis as if it's a matter of, you know, life or death. If you don't nurture your constituency, you are not a good parliamentarian.
But Sharad Pradhan, will those questions be asked? Sharad Pradhan, will those questions be asked? The comparison between development that's taken place in Kashi, for example, and Raebareli.
Well,
you know,
then you
that is the job of a municipal corporation.
That part, even you know, times have changed. Today, when you talk of development, it's a different scale. It's a different order of development. So if you talk of development in the 50s, you probably may not have been born at that time when Raebareli became the constituency of the Gandhi family. And I have seen that place
is
changing.
There merit in that criticism that,
Gaurav,
you know, Raebareli should have been much better developed, considering it's produced so many prime ministers and party leaders compared to Kashi with 10 years of Modi?
10 years of Modi from 2014. And Indira Gandhi was there in the 70s. So there's a world of a difference in the world in the development, as the word development, it's a world of a difference. So, what Indira Gandhi did in Raebareli, Gaurav, let me tell you, that the first industry that ever came to Raebareli was brought by Indira Gandhi. Raebareli, I have seen, was like a village, and it grew, it developed into a town, it developed into a city during Indira Gandhi's time. There is no doubt about it.
It's for the voters of Raebareli to decide if they're happy with the level of development that they've seen. Shazia, last 30 seconds on this part of the show, the Prime Minister makes the attack very personal. Why?
You know, because we do have people who believe in dynasties in this country, who have the sense of entitlement, who have such low standards of development. There are people here who want to speak for these khandans and not for regular folks, which is the primary difference between BJP and others. Because here it matters. 70 to 80% of houses in Amethi and Raebareli until 10 years back were mud houses. It's a matter of shame. I mean, people who support these the Gandhis should hang their heads in shame as to how they've looted. It's just been a one-way relationship where people have just given to them and just given more and more.
Ultimately, it's for the voters to decide at Amethi, Raebareli, Kashi, or of course, all the other 543 put together. A huge political controversy in the national capital after Delhi police received a call from the Delhi Chief Minister's residence this morning. The police say the call was made by a person who said she was Aam Aadmi Party MP Swati Maliwal and alleged she was assaulted at the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's residence, claiming that the assault The person who assaulted her was the Chief Minister's personal assistant. Delhi police say Swati Maliwal did visit the Civil Lines police station but did not file a written complaint, at least not so far. There's no official comment from either the Chief Minister's office or the Aam Aadmi Party.
दिल्ली के लोकप्रिय मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल आपके बीच पहुंच चुके हैं।
The Aam Aadmi Party caught in an ugly fight. At the heart of it are Aam Aadmi Party MP and former Chief of Delhi Commission for Women Swati Maliwal and none other than CM Arvind Kejriwal. At 9:10 a.m. on Monday morning, Maliwal arrived at Kejriwal's official residence in Civil Lines. At 9:34 a.m., the Delhi police received a phone call from Swati Maliwal, alleging assault at Kejriwal's home. The Aam Aadmi Party MP claimed she was assaulted by CM's PA Bibhav Kumar at the behest of Kejriwal. Within minutes, a police team reached outside CM's residence. The police say they convinced Maliwal to come with them to the police station. She, however, has not lodged an official complaint yet.
At 9:34 a.m. around in the morning, we received a PCR call wherein the caller said that she has been assaulted inside the CM residence. Accordingly, local police responded to the call and SHO and the local police reached at the spot. After some time, MP Madam Swati Maliwal ji came to police station Civil Lines. She left the police station without giving any complaints. In this matter, till now, no complaint has been received.
The BJP has slammed Aam Aadmi Party, comparing the incident with the alleged assault on former Chief Secretary Anshu Prakash in 2018.
देखिए, बहुत स्पष्ट दिखता है कि नारी शक्ति आम आदमी पार्टी में सुरक्षित नहीं। अगर DCM की, दिल्ली कमीशन फॉर वुमेन की, अगर पूर्व अध्यक्ष अगर उसमें है और राज्यसभा की सांसद वो सुरक्षित नहीं मुख्यमंत्री के घर में, तो प्रश्न ये उठता है, पिटाई परिवार ने करवाई या पार्टी ने?
ये बहुत ही शर्मसार करने वाली बात है, ये बहुत ही दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण वाली बात है। अगर उन्हीं के ऊपर आपकी मौजूदगी में आप ही का OSD हाथ उठा रहा है, अगर वे आपकी ही मौजूदगी में सुरक्षित नहीं है, तो दिल्ली की महिलाओं की, दिल्ली की बेटियों की, दिल्ली की बहुओं की सुरक्षा आप क्या करेंगे माननीय मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल जी?
Aam Aadmi Party remains tight-lipped. Kejriwal went about his regular campaigning, making no comments on Maliwal's accusations. Bureau Report, India Today.
We will continue to track developments on the story closely, but that is all I have for you on this special broadcast. Many thanks for watching. News and updates continue on India Today.